Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Tinnicker and I worked in university admissions for well over 25 years. I've read countless personal statements and delivered hundreds of sessions for students on how to write them. This is my super short guide to writing your personal statement. Now, if you find this video helpful but would like a deeper dive into the process, you'll find more personal statement support plus loads of other useful stuff at betterunichoices.com. So what's coming up? Well, we'll start with the basics. Then I have a 3-step guide to writing your statement. 1, preparing your content. 2, deciding your structure. And 3, writing reflectively. And then we'll finish with my 5 top tips. So let's start with the basics. Your statement can be no longer than 4,000 characters. That's likely to be around 650 words or so. There's also a limit of 47 lines of text once it's uploaded onto the online form. Any formatting you include in your draft will be removed. You can't use bold, underlining or italics, and you can't use bullet points or emojis. Now, you're only allowed 1 personal statement for all the courses you're applied for. So, if your courses are very similar, you'll be able to focus strongly on that subject. Whereas if your courses are quite different, you'll need a more generic approach. But be warned, for high demand courses, a very generic statement might not be enough. Finally, the purpose of your statement is to show the admissions tutor that you have the knowledge, the motivation and the skills to succeed on their course. You've got 4,000 characters given a really clear story as to why you want to study their subject and provide evidence of the skills and experience that you will bring to your studies. So use every one of those 4,000 characters. Now, the first step for anyone writing a personal statement is to prepare their content. There are very few people in the world who can sit down and write 650 words of high quality writing without preparation. For most of us, preparation is key, and I suggest starting with a brainstorm to answer 8 simple questions. These are questions that you should all be able to answer without too much thought, and if you can't, you may need to do a little more research before you continue. For now, write down each of these questions, then immediately after watching this video, write down your answers honestly in plain language. And when you write your initial answers, you're not trying to impress anyone. This is just for you to help you organize your thoughts. So 1, why do you want to do the course? Perhaps you simply want to carry on studying something you enjoy. Maybe you have a career in mind, or maybe there is a personal story behind your decisions. 2, what do you already know about the course or profession? Do you know the course structure, the topics covered, how it'll be taught, how it'll be assessed, work placements, study abroad options, how the professional accreditation works? Knowing the answers to these questions will enable you to keep your content relevant. 3, what skills does the course require? Now, some course pages will have highly detailed information about this, telling you very clearly what they're looking for. Others won't, and you'll have to dig a bit deeper to look at the course and to try to work out for yourself which skills will be useful. 4, what have you most enjoyed studying at school? What have been the best, most interesting things you've studied, and why? Did they challenge your way of thinking or help you see things in a different light? And what specific skills are you demonstrating while studying the things that you enjoy? 5, what supercurricular activities have you done? Supercurricular activities are things you do outside of your school but relate to your course. They are a fantastic way of demonstrating that you've done your research and are motivated to study and have the skills required to excel. They could be as simple as reading books, journals, newspaper articles, listening to podcasts, TED Talks, or attending university taster days. Maybe you've entered maths, coding, poetry, or essay competitions. Write down the activities, what you enjoyed about them, and what skills they demonstrate. 6, what extracurricular activities have you done? These are things that you do outside of your school classes, like organised activities. They could be sporting, creative, or community-based. What have you done, and what skills have you demonstrated? 7, what work experience have you done? Now, academic courses don't generally require work experience, but some courses, in particular health and education, really do. So, if it's relevant, write down what you did and how it is relevant to your course. 8, what are your hobbies? Most hobbies are not going to make the final cut, but some will if they have helped you develop the skills that are relevant to your course. These 8 questions will give you all of the content you need. So answer them reasonably thoroughly and you really will have everything you need to move to the next step. That next step is deciding your structure. And it's really simple. Part 1, the trigger. Start strongly with a sentence that effectively says, because of A, I want to do B in order that I can study C. Essentially, why do you want to study the course and where might it lead you? There is literally no need to make it any more complicated than that. Part 2, what have you done to demonstrate that you'll be a great student? You're going to take all those things that you've done in class, through supercurricular and extracurricular activities, work experience and hobbies, and you're going to relate them to the course you're applying for. If your course is an academic course like English, Maths, Biology, focus on your class studies and your supercurricular activities. If your course is professional or practical like medicine or teaching, focus on your experience, skills and knowledge of that profession, whether it be through work experience or something extracurricular. If your course is more broadly vocational like business or sport, you might use academic studies, supercurricular activities, extracurriculars, work experience or hobbies to demonstrate your motivation and knowledge. You should have 3 or 4 paragraphs for this main section and just 1 or at most 2 activities to discuss per paragraph. Finally, I recommend writing this section in chronological order. A statement that jumps around between your sixth form and your early childhood can be confusing to read and difficult to follow. Part 3 of your structure is the killer conclusion. Finish with a sentence or 2 that really sums up your application. It could be something that links right back to the opening sentence and your essential motivation to do the course. It could be the 2 or 3 stronger skills that will enable you to succeed on the course. Or it could be a forward-looking statement about your future and how the course will support your plans. But whichever it is, keep it short, punchy and to the point. And that is your structure. 1, the trigger. 2, what you've done to demonstrate that you'll be a great student. And 3, the killer conclusion. Now, the third step when writing your statement is to make sure that for every activity you write about, you write reflectively. The trap you see that many students fall into is that they simply describe what they've done and make the assumption that the reader automatically understands why it's important. For example, in Year 11, I did a work experience placement in the marketing department of a small tech startup, during which I helped with data entry, events organisation and email promotional campaigns. It's okay, but there's no reflection and no attempt to make it relevant to the course. Reflective writing involves you analysing the experience, considering what impact it had on you and making clear what you plan to do next. A super simple structure you could use is simply known as what, so what, now what. What, you describe the activity or experience. So what, why does it matter? And how does it connect to the course that you're applying to? And what next? Well, you describe what action you took or are taking as a result. So applying this to our example, what? In Year 11, I did a work placement in the marketing department of a small tech startup, during which I helped with data entry, events organisation and email promotional campaigns. So what? Through this, I developed my IT skills, my writing skills and learned about how CRM systems work. Now what? I wanted to learn more about marketing, so I asked my manager what reading they would suggest. They recommended Simon Sinek's Start With Why, which I read and which has reinforced my desire to learn more about marketing. See the improvement. It is so much clearer how the placement demonstrated skills, knowledge and motivation that are relevant to the course. So, for everything you mention in your statement, consider what, so what, and now what. So, those are my 3 steps to writing your statement. 1, prepare your content with my 8 questions. 2, determine what goes where with my super simple structure. And 3, write about each activity reflecting on what, so what, and now what. Now, just in case you want a few final tips before you start your first draft, here are a few thoughts that I've picked up from admissions tutors over the years. In no particular order. 1, avoid using quotes. Loads of students try to use quotes in their statement. The advice of most experts is just don't. It will most likely sound cliched, unoriginal, or just weird. 2, use simple, easy to read language. The most common problem I have when reading personal statements is that so many contain convoluted sentences and complex words that are not normal vocabulary. Don't do this. Just write in plain, easy to read English. 3, don't copy or use an essay mill. Don't copy anything that your friends have written or that you found on the internet, and definitely don't pay someone off some dodgy website to write your statement for you. You are likely to be caught out by plagiarism software, and even if you aren't, it is very likely that the statement you have copied or paid for will not be as good as your own. 4, read it out loud. When you think your statement is finished, try reading it out loud, perhaps to a friend or a family member. When you read it, does it sound right? Does it sound like your voice telling your story? If not, you and your friend will immediately know. Finally, the most important tip of all, number 5, remember that it's your personal statement. Make it personal and own it. This means that ultimately it's your decision what to put in and what to leave out. It's your motivation that you're demonstrating, and it's your skill and experience that you are showing off. No one else can do this for you. So own the process from start to finish. Use every resource that is available. Take responsibility for how you approach the writing process, what you write, how you get feedback, and when you do the work. You'll have to take the consequences of the outcome, so take ownership of the task. So that's it. That, in a nutshell, is how to write your personal statement. If you found this helpful, don't forget there's plenty more help and support available at betterunichoices.com. Please like and share this video so that others can benefit too. Thanks for listening. See you next time.